Welcome, welcome to a special edition of the Big Picture Live. I'm going to ask you the question: can you believe or see what you see or what you hear anywhere? Spoiler alert, probably not. We're going to cover that tonight. We're going to show you how AI and deepfake is affecting our upcoming elections. King Charles is not in a good place. Much more breaking news and much more tonight. Let's go. Big Picture Live. Come on, let's do this thing. All right, so tonight we're just going to jump right into it. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world tonight. This is a special edition of our Thursday night. It is normally the night that you would see Pastor Mark Carell in the Kingdom Intelligence Report. He'll be with us next month. Had some things come up when he was not able to be with us tonight, so we will miss him tonight. But you're stuck with me tonight, and I hope that I will somehow fill the gap, which is some big, big shoes to fill. If you haven't smashed that like button, we are only on YouTube and Rumble tonight. And so we need you to hit that like button on YouTube, hit that thumbs up on Rumble. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Rumble. Let's get right into it. But I want to remind you, rumble.com, Larry Ragland, rumble.com/Larry Ragland is how you follow us there. Now, before we get into the discussion tonight of deepfake, the deepfake takeover, and what is really happening and what you need to be prepared for in the coming news cycles, as well as the election, many other things, I want to just give you also a heads up on some things that are going on right now that you may have not heard. You're certainly not going to see this being covered in the mainstream media, and probably even on these platforms that you are watching right now, because there's so much going on in the world. We got the war in Ukraine. We got the war in the Middle East. We've got what's going on with China. We got the protests in the streets of our colleges in our cities. They're calling them pro-Palestinian marches, but they're really not. They're in protest, but they're really anti-Israel. Many of them are anti-Semitic, and quite frankly, many of these college students don't even know why they're there. I mean, person after person after person is being interviewed, and they're just clueless. They're like, I really don't know what our cause is here. My friends said they needed help, so I came out here and put a mask on and shouting "Free Palestine" and whatever. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this world. I'm going to show you some stuff that tonight that you need to be aware of. One of the things that may have slipped under the radar for you that I want everybody on the Big Picture audience to be aware of is that President Biden and the White House, I think they're doing everything they can do as fast as they can, because I believe they know they're running out of time. There is really much talk going on right now they're considering a declaration of a national climate emergency in order to grant itself special powers. Now, remember that 4 years ago, when we had the election, that I want to remind you that we're being told that, I believe it was 81 million people voted for this man. And we're being told that, that's more votes than any president in the history of presidents has ever received. So maybe it was 83 million. But, you can do what you want to do with that. You can look at when he goes into a gas station or into a fast food restaurant. People don't even get up out of their seats. But yet 81, 83 million people voted for him. Okay? But if you'll remember, we were in the middle of the wah-wah. We're in the middle of all the world chaos when it came to the sickness and all this that were being dealt with and all the things that came with it. It was the most unusual presidential election of our lifetime and quite possibly of all time. And one of the unusual things was about how the campaign happened and how campaigning happened. President Trump was campaigning still in massive coliseums and outdoor events of tens of thousands of people. And candidate Biden, who is now considered President Biden, was campaigning in rooms where basically it was just the reporters and a handful of people, but under the guise of, we're doing this for the safety of people. So we're not allowed. It would be much bigger crowds if we didn't have this to deal with. And then, of course, that bred into the whole mail-in ballots and all the things that happen with different ways of voting that we've never had before. Now, they were able to do that because of the wah-wah. And if you're new to our channel, you don't know what the wah-wah is, that's just our code word for the, the stick, the jab, all the other things that you can imagine that were going on. The reason we're still using the code word is because those regulations are coming back for online content creators again. But what I'm trying to say is they were able to do that because they were under a state of emergency. And when you declare a state of emergency, the rule is you get special overriding, constitutional overriding powers that they can enforce on you and almost like negate the Constitution and your free speech, your right to worship and gather, and all these kind of things were overridden, if you'll remember. Well, that declaration is over. So what are they going to do this election? And without being overly critical, I think everyone knows that all you have to do is watch, President Biden's speeches and just whenever he does give a speech, which is very, very rare, that mentally, I think we all would agree, even the people that voted for him and still support him are agreeing that mentally he is not there. But yet he's going to run, he's running for president again. Well, notice that the same thing seems to be happening again. It's deja vu all over again, with the famous saying there. But, he campaigned from his basement 4 years ago. And he's not in his basement this year, but he may be, because that's what this is about. They don't have enough time to bring in a sickness that would be global, that would have the effect that it had before, not to mention the fact that most of the people would not go for it again. There'd still be the mind-numb robots and the sheep that would follow along. But most people woke up and realized, what in the world are we doing here? I'm never doing this again. So what are they going to do? This is what's being hashed around by a lot of people right now. The Biden White House is considering a declaration of a national climate emergency in order to be basically the same thing as the wah-wah, to grant them special powers. The White House, once again, is entertaining the possibility of conferring itself unprecedented powers to hobble American energy producers and win over leftists, all in the name of changing weather patterns. Emergency powers then and now. The National Emergency Act enables the president to activate special powers during a crisis. Since the law went into effect in 1976, it has been invoked scores of times. When former President Donald Trump was in office, the Brennan Center for Justice, a leftist Public Policy Institute, raised the alarm about, quote, the vast array of obscure presidential powers the NEA affords presidents in the face of supposed emergency. And some of these things that it covers is an imaginable subject area, including the military, land use, public health, trade, federal pay schedules, agricultural, transportation, communication, and criminal law. One statute unlocked following an NEA declaration would enable the president to, quote, suspend a law that prohibits the testing of chemical and biological weapons on unwitting human subjects. Another would allow the president to commandeer radio stations. And he goes on and on and on. Now, this is not something that is just conspiracy theory. In fact, I want to play you a couple of video clips that were just recently. This particular one was 4 days ago. This was from Fox News only 4 days ago. So this is not an old subject. This is a current subject. Listen to a little bit of this, and then I'm going to show you another video clip showing you that while all this is going on, this is happening as well.
Along, President Biden is sounding the climate alarm to gain favor with youth and progressive voters. The White House renewing internal talks on declaring a climate emergency. As the Biden administration restricts millions of acres on Alaska's petroleum reserve from oil and gas drilling ahead of Earth Day, activists are pushing the commander-in-chief for answers, saying, quote, If Biden wants to win the youth vote, he needs to take forceful action on climate change. But would taking this action embolden our adversaries?
But here's another video from CBS News. Let's play this right here. Well, it's not playing. I'm having all kinds of technical issues. Y'all know this happens to me a lot. Let's try this again.
At Columbia University's Climate School, she also hosts the Big Switch podcast, which explains how to rebuild our energy systems. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me what a climate emergency is and what that might entail.
So when we talk about the potential for the president to declare a climate emergency, what it's saying is, you know what, there's a national emergency going on, and I need extra powers to be able to respond to it to protect the U.S. This is a contentious decision. If it's made, this discussion has come up many times, but if it is made, then the president would have additional powers in the short term, almost immediately.
And what might those powers look like, and who would be the first to be nervous about new powers the president might have? In other words, I mean, would it be fossil fuel companies? How might that work out?
Yeah, so if the president does this, he would have access to a lot of different powers. I know what's being talked about is the ability to control how we're able to sell fossil fuels. Are we able to export it? Are we able to send it to different parts of the world? Now, obviously, the countries, the organizations that depend on those exports, they would be concerned about it, as would companies. But that's not all that the president can do. The president can do a lot to bolster up the manufacturing, the production of clean energy technology.
So the key here is that the president would have power to force what we call clean energy technology, force windmills, force the shutdown of coal burning fuel plants, shut down auto manufacturers that make gas-powered vehicles. Do not think that this is beyond the scope of possibility. They are running out of time. They are panicking right now. And I believe that some of this aspect of the wars that are happening was in some people's planned agendas globally. But I believe some people here are a little upset about it because it's causing them to focus their attention on something else when they really wanted to ram this stuff down our throats before the election happens. Because I believe who knows if Trump is going to win the presidency. They're going to pull out all the stops they possibly can. But I think in their gut, they realize this is it for them. This is probably their last shot to destroy, quite frankly, the economy. They keep saying all this stuff about saving democracy. By the way, in case you didn't know this, we're not a democracy. We're a democratic republic. That is our form of government. But just for the sake of the statement, destroying democracy that you hear all the time, the very thing, you know how they work, the very thing that they say they're against is the very thing that they're doing. So that's what they're trying to do. So I wanted to let you know about that. And there's one other thing I wanted to let you know about before I get into this discussion of AI tonight. And thank you for all the people that's involved in the live chat tonight. Thank you. You guys are amazing. And I thank you for all the super chats and all the super thanks. Thank you. I appreciate you so much for doing that. Yeah. All right. So I want to show you something about King Charles. King Charles, many of you know, is very sick. And this is an article from Yahoo News that's dated today, Thursday, April 25th. King Charles' funeral plans are dusted off as his health remains a mystery. A lot of people's not talking about this. It's the question in everyone in the British society and the quarters of power is thinking, but nobody will publicly ask, let alone answer. Just how sick is King Charles III? The chatter that King Charles is significantly more unwell than his aides are letting on is proliferating in British society. Speaking to friends of the king in recent weeks about his health, the most common response is a lowering of the voice by half an octave or so, followed by the somber, drawn-out pronouncement, "It's not good." Now, many people are saying that the king has been told that has a specific type of cancer that he's being diagnosed with. Apart from saying that it was not prostate cancer, he is understood to be making regular visits to London in radiotherapy treatment, which can be used to treat many different types of cancer. Some people are saying privately that he has severe Bell's palsy as well, and his face is disfigured and paralyzed. and he doesn't want to be seen in public. But many people are saying that things are already happening. And just today, what's her name, Kate, that I'm going to show you something about in just a moment when it comes to AI technology and deepfake, has been given special titles to almost to prepare them for assuming the king and queen ship of that country. And so I know many of you that are watching this don't really care about that, unless you live in the United Kingdom and around the world. But this is a big deal because King Charles is believed to be one of the prominent peoples, and he is one of the prominent people in the World Economic Forum, as well as he is believed to be one of the forefront people that is pushing this climate agenda. So what will happen if they know that one of the biggest voices for this climate agenda may not have long to live? I believe you're going to be seeing a scrambling and a turbo speed of manipulation of the minds of people when it comes to this. And then now you have the United States government literally toying with the fact of declaring a national emergency for climate that would give them the same kind of powers that they had 4 years ago during the Wham. So, but what I want to show you tonight is the deepfake takeover. Now, I'm going to show you a series of videos here, and then we're going to just sort of stop and discuss them. And by the way, I've got if you see little lines and it looks a little darker, it's because this is some things that I have to do to keep, when I show this many videos, to keep from getting a copyright strike. So I hope I may still get one. Hope I don't. But this is dealing with Kate Middleton. Now, you remember that Kate Middleton had a big controversy with the Photoshop picture on the United Kingdom's version of Mother's Day. It was not a real photo, and she had to come out and admit that she had, quote unquote, been tinkering with editing her photos, and that she had photoshopped that picture. Well, then it created a lot of other controversy. Is she alive? Is she, how bad a sick is she? We knew that she had went into the hospital and all of this. Well, then she released this video, and I want you to watch this young man right here, his reaction to the video. And I think it's the reaction of a lot of other people. It has a lot to do with what's going on with deepfake and AI. So let's watch this.
Okay, there's something wrong with what's going on here. A lot of people began to look at this and sort of dissect it and say, okay, there's something strange going on here, because this looks a lot like the deepfake AI stuff that we saw last year and even up to now. Now, a lot of it has gone quiet, but if you remember the viral Tom Cruise stuff, as well as...
All right, so I'm going to pause it just so you can see a little bit better, and I'm going to try to take this filter off and see what happens. So you can see it a little bit better, and then we'll just see what happens on the copywriting, because I just want you to see how clear it is. This is the video that she released. Let's watch a little bit more of it.
Even with the royal family, let's take a look at a few of these things. Here is a video of the Queen basically saying something, but obviously it's not her. She's talking and dancing and doing all these things. You can watch this yourself.
This is not the Queen.
They made Queen Elizabeth do these things, and it's very crazy. Watch this guy remind you about what happened just last year.
Now, this is just going to be a series of what the evolution of the deepfake, and then we're going to bring it up to where we're at in the elections at the end. Watch this.
Here.
This is from July 2023. Watch this video.
It's Deepfake Friday, and we're talking to an innovative company that can replicate any human's face, voice, and personality through an algorithmic process in a matter of minutes. Don't believe me? Well, I'm not real. I'm a Brian Sullivan digital double, created by a startup called Brask, using images and video of the real Brian to compile what's called a mask. I'm being replicated by a stand-in actor to read this monologue, and then my appearance and voice is changed using artificial intelligence. So now that I've got your attention, let's send it back to the real Brian Sullivan as we dive deeper into this revolutionary technology.
It's the same guy.
I have not seen that before that. They told me.
So that's the real guy. I mean, that's just an example of what's going on here. Let's go a little further as he breaks down a little bit more about the Kate Middleton video. Let's watch this.
Talking about comparing previous videos that basically you use as a baseline, and then you create this new video, and other people making some accusations about where she is, her being executed, and various other things. And people all over TikTok, all over social media, posting about this. It's going very viral. Let's listen to a couple more of these.
I'm so scared that she got Princess Diana, and I really hope that I'm wrong.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery.
This looks like AI to me. I've been getting that uncanny valley feeling every time I watch this, and a lot of people are. The elites can deepfake anything these days. They have the best technology imaginable for this kind of stuff. And aside from that video feeling strange all on its own, this is a promotional video that they put out 7 years ago.
Mental health is just incredibly tough.
Same sweater, same hairstyle, same setting. Even the weather is exactly the same. They could so easily create this from that. I also thought it was strange that she was sitting there alone for the video instead of being accompanied by her husband. Apparently AI works way better if there's one subject in the video, which is why a lot of the deepfakes you see are just one person sitting there talking.
I am
Wow, look at this.
not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not.
This is a deepfake that someone was able to make imposing Meghan Markle's face on the video.
This, of course, came as a huge shock. And William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately.
Obviously, the royals have much better technology than us.
Wow. Okay, so these, I could go on and on. These kind of examples are everywhere over the internet. So these are just some examples, and he is using the Kate Middleton video to illustrate what is going on. And this article goes on to tell us what this means for the whole world. This is from Politico. Deepfakes, distrust, and disinformation. Welcome to the AI election. From phony robocalls to lifelike forged photos, the trendy tech is evolving at breakneck pace as billions head to the polls, not just in America. Over 40% of the world, of every government in the world, is going to national landmark elections this year. This has never happened all in one year. Over 40+% of the world is voting for their top and their leading leaders. And that is incredible when you think about, and incredibly dangerous, that not just in America, but around the world, people are going to be tricked by this deepfake technology. From the Boston Department, let's see, it goes on to say that political operatives in foreign governments using these tools, which can generate lifelike images, seemingly indistinguishable from real-world photos, hope to sow doubt across the more than 50 elections placed worldwide in 2024. Hood has used the U.S. vote in November as just one example, but such tactics, he added, could be replicated across any election from the European Union to India to Mexico. You can generate as many of those images you want very, very quickly. So it's happening. It's happening right before our very eyes. If you haven't smashed that like button, go ahead and smash it now. What are you waiting on to smash it, smash it, smash it? Thank you so much for all that you're doing to help us grow the big picture. And thank you to all of our partners that have clicked that join button down below for $5 a month. Or we really, really appreciate those that have gone to our website and connected to be a partner with us to help us with our television ministry that we'll show you at the end of the program. I want to show you a couple of others. I want to show you a couple of other examples of deepfake. Look at this right here. This will drive home just how good this is. And then you ask yourself, if Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Kamala Harris or whoever Trump's VP is, or a news anchor or somebody on the street, they faked a fake news article or fake them all saying something that would get them in trouble and hurt their election, would you be able to tell the difference? Watch this. This is unbelievable.
Second youngest son. He's suggesting it came out of nowhere. What we subsequently learned. second youngest son. He's suggesting it came out of nowhere. What we subsequently learned is it may have come from the former president or his legal team acting in bad faith. This is deepfake example of what is possible with powerful computer and editing. It took around 72 hours to create this example from scratch using extremely powerful GPU. It could be improved with more computing time, but 90% of people cannot tell the difference.
Unreal. Here's another one. This is actually, I showed you this earlier, of the guy that created this, his actual facial expressions that he morphed himself into Morgan Freeman. This is the actual video from this company called DeepNet. What's this? This, and keep in mind, everything you're seeing right now is 100% computer. This is not Morgan Freeman, okay? Watch this.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
What? Y'all, this is insane. And if this is what they're showing us that they can do, you know what we say here on this show all the time, then what are they not showing us that they can do? Y'all are smart enough. The Big Picture family is smart enough to know that when we see them rolling out something, that's the part they want you to know, not the part they don't want you to know that they're really able to do. There's no way in this world that if I did not tell you, and if that computer-generated movie did not tell you that it wasn't fake, if you saw that, there might be if you were really looking for and anticipating that something might be fake, you might have been able to pick something out of that, but most people would have never known that wasn't Morgan Freeman. So then that's why people are asking the question about Kate Middleton. Was that really her? We don't know. We don't know. How can you know now? You can't know now. I mean, like one of the things that was pointed out is it's so much easier to do a deep fake with one person versus a group of people, because then you start picking out things. And if you'll even notice this too, and I'm not trying to accuse that of not being a real video from Kate Middleton, but if you'll notice, she did not move hardly at all. She kept her hands just right, and her body stayed still. Now, that may be her nature, but most people, when they're telling something that's that emotional and was a response of people of saying that she was actually not even still here with us and all that, you would think she would have been a little bit more animated than what she was. So, wow, it's taking over the world, y'all. And when you think about it, there are actually news studios around the world right now. There's about 2 or 3 that's doing it full time now that have turned their entire news broadcast over to AI and deepfake. And basically AI, not even deep fake technology where you're trying to pretend to be somebody else. Just a completely generated human actor looking like a human actor, but there's nothing real to it. The scripts are being written by AI. The news gathering is being done by AI. The production, the camera angles, the lighting, the adjusting, the color adjusting, all of it's being done by computers. And they're doing entire news broadcasts. 100% a human's not involved at all. So if that's the case, y'all, how are we going to know what is real? How do we know that what we're hearing about Ukraine is real? How do we know what we're hearing about Israel is real? How do we know what we're hearing about anything is real? Here's my thing is, just a little side note within the program, weigh it with Scripture, because Scripture has stood the test of time and it will stand the test of time. So, you know, if you can't believe in anything else, believe in Scripture. Now I'm going to take you to, this is a video that was just this week. It was released this week by Forbes. online. This is a tech CEO testifying before a hearing, and I want to show you. He's going to show you an example of a deep fake, and I'm not going to show you this whole testimony. I'm just going to show you the example that he used for Carrie Lake, who's running for Senate in her home state of Arizona. But listen to what he says about how this is going to affect election. He calls it the oversight of AI election deepfakes.
Those three fundamental technologies are what generative AI is about. That covers about 90% of it. All of these models require massive amounts of compute resources and massive amounts of data. We're talking about millions of identities here. So just keep that in your heads when you're thinking about this technology.
And think about all the identities that have been stolen. Think about all the things that just is a 30-second news blurb or a little pop-up on your phone. Hey, make sure you change your password. AT&T is saying that the data of their customers has been leaked, but don't worry, they're working on it. They're shutting the back door of this. How many times have you heard people's identities have been leaked, stolen, accidentally stolen, or hacked? What are they really doing with it? It's always been told to us, and I'm gonna go back to my screen so I can look at it for just a minute. Like Joseph C. says, I like how he says, so I can look at you. But the narrative has always been that your image, your likeness, your data, your social security numbers, and all that's being sold to the dark web to be traded for people to take advantage of you financially and all that. And I don't doubt that that's true. But nobody ever says that, as this gentleman is telling this House hearing, that in order for them to generate the deep fakes that they need to study the identity of billions of people. So it is my opinion that many of these hacks and many of these so-called breaches of security where identities have been lost, I believe much of that is being used for AI. If it's data such as social security numbers, birth dates, mother's names, things like that, AI is using that for other nefarious reasons. But many of these things that, we do Face ID, we do all these kind of things where we do facial expressions, all of our Instagram accounts, our Facebook accounts, X accounts, and all this, got all these selfies and all of this, trillions upon decitrillions of pictures and data that these AI supercomputers are using and pulling from. You remember when, not long ago, when the new program, what is it called, Sora, that was released from OpenAI, their new text-to-video technology, which is insane, the video that it made just from simple little text prompts. Well, when the CEO of that department was asked, did you use people's personal photos that are on the internet to train your AI to be able to generate these pictures? She did not deny it. She said, I'd rather not speak to that. So that means, yes, they've used my picture. They've used your picture to train to where if I go far enough to make enough people mad and I speak and I'm not intimidated by what they're telling me to shut up, they can create an AI version of me, put me on the big picture one night and do a live broadcast one night, and I'm asleep, sound asleep in the bed, but lo and behold, I'm getting chills right now thinking about this, but this is where this is going. If they really wanted to destroy me, all of a sudden AI can do a big picture broadcast on its own and say things that I would never say and put myself in an awkward position. That's where this is going. And don't you know that the powers that be that want to manipulate who's in charge of the United States of America is going to use this technology to sway the votes of the people? That's why I call it deepfake takeover, because it's taking over politics, it's taking over news, it's taking over media, it's taking over Hollywood. Many of the actors in the Actors Guild are suing these technology companies for new contracts because they realize it ain't gonna be long. They're gonna be out of a job. That, you know, people are going to be able to generate their images and make movies of them. Remember, I did a segment on Tom Hanks, and a few others have now put in their contracts. They are getting their lawyers to draw up contracts of the AI version of themselves, because they're trying to get ahead of it. That when I get old and I'm no longer wanted for movies, and people want the old version of me when I was in my 30s and 40s and 50s, I want to be able to get royalties off of them and give them permission and have rights for my likeness and image and voice to recreate me and make movies with me in them. And I'm 70 years old, but I'm making a brand new movie, and I'm 35-year-old version of Tom Cruise, 35-year-old version of whoever. That's where this is going. So let's go back and listen to this guy here as he's speaking about how this is going to affect the elections. All right, here we go.
Technology. We've all talked about how deepfakes are coming and how they're basically here. But one thing that is, I think, hard for most people to understand just intuitively is scale, right? These deepfakes and these AIs, they're getting really, really good really fast, right? The quality is basically perfect now. They're getting really cheap to produce. Right now, it's about 10 cents per minute for video. That's going down to 1 cent really, really quickly. And the amount...
10 cents per minute, it's going down to 1 cent per minute. Now, imagine you are a candidate running for a particular office, whether it be president or any other office, and you have, let's say, just $10 million, you know, $1 million. What you can do with that. We used to have to spend millions of dollars in commercials of producing and hiring actors and all of this. For 1 cent a minute, you can create deepfake technology. What if you had $150 million? What if you had $250 million? Do you think you could sway an election?
Of content, the percentage of content that is on online platforms is approaching as much as 90% by 2030, right? So we all know the harm.
Okay, what? Let's go back.
Harms, which is 90% content. The percentage of content that is on online platforms is approaching as much as 90% by 2030, right? So we all know the harms. It's important you know the scale of these harms. Now, we've already seen them impact the elections, right? We have the deepfakes of President Biden announcing the draft, the deepfakes of President Trump getting arrested, the deepfakes of Hillary Clinton endorsing Governor DeSantis, right? All of those are about political assassination. We are also seeing deepfakes be used to create groundswell support, right? The deepfakes of President Trump with black voters. So it's important to know that these deepfakes are going to be used for political assassination, but also for the opposite, to make politicians seem more relatable. But I think a bigger threat is actually not the fake content. It's what the fake content does to the real content, right? When anything could be fake, you don't know what's real anymore. And so we're going to...
Wow. What the fake does to the real. When our minds get to the point, and we're almost there, where anything, we know anything can be fake, instead of automatically going to the point of thinking, I wonder if that's fake, the AI and the deepfake takeover is its goal is to make you ask, I wonder if that's real. Okay, so you've got a human being standing in front of a camera, sitting in front of a camera like I am right now. By the way, I'm not deep fake, okay? I know you don't know that for real because of what I just said, but I am the real thing. You know how I know I'm the real thing? Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man gets to the Father but by him. AI would never say that. I digress. But I love what he said. The danger is not what deep fake will do to the fake, but what the deep fake will do to the truth. Wow.
Start seeing plausible deniability come into play here, where politicians or anyone in business or anyone at all could just claim an image, audio, video as a deep fake. And that is fundamentally dangerous.
So in other words, a company, an individual that does something wrong, that commits a criminal act, and it's caught on tape, it's caught on video, where it used to be that was the death knell. Okay, we've got you on video. The prosecutor, we've got you on video, sir. Is that not you? We're moving into a world very quickly and rapidly to where you could literally say, no, that's not me. That's not me. Even though you know it's you. It's not me. That's deepfake AI. That's somebody made that. That's AI. You can't prove that's me. How can you prove that that's me and not AI? Do you understand this is the world that is not coming? This is the world that's here.
People think that AI is going to be like the Terminator. It is much more likely to create a society like 1984. That's what we need to be worried about when we're talking about deepfakes.
Wow. Instead of Terminator, and it's almost like that's a psyop. We talk a lot about it on our channel, and I do believe there is some elements there of how the military will use this technology to turn, and it will turn on us one day. But what he just openly said, it's more like 1984. It's more like surveillance. It's more like manipulation, where you lose your freedoms. Now, for time purposes, I want to fast forward here to where he begins to talk about how he gives an example of Kari Lake from this deep media AI. Let's listen to this.
We can show the slides here on the screen. Go to the next one, please. Here are some examples of what our system looks like. Again, we are mapping on the left there the proliferation of deepfake.
By the way, what he's talking about is he's promoting his company that has developed supposedly a software that can detect AI when most people cannot detect it, that companies will use and governments will use supposedly to detect AI.
Over time, as well as the cost to society if we don't solve this problem. This is cost for fraud, misinformation, and other crimes, right? However, our platform can deliver solutions at scale across image, audio, and video. Next slide, please. Here we see what some examples of real content and fake content. Again, it's not just about detecting a deepfake, right? It's being able to detect a deepfake while not saying a real thing is fake. Right? That's critical. So our false positive and our false negative rate is very, very low.
Stay with it.
We have a little bit of time. I'd like to show you just how an AI sees audio. We have some images up here, but on the next slide, we're going to see how an AI sees audio. And this is actually a real piece of audio. A person's voice. That's an actual one. AI is tracking the face. It's picking up. This is a deepfake that was produced recently. Maybe we can just play the whole thing.
Hi, I'm Kari Lake. Subscribe to the Arizona Agenda for hard-hitting, real news and a preview of the terrifying artificial intelligence coming your way in the next election. Like this video, which is an AI deepfake the Arizona Agenda made to show you just how good this technology is getting.
This is the highest quality deepfake made to date. It is using detection or generative models that aren't released publicly. They use their own generation models that they created, hyper high quality, and we picked it up, right? So it's about staying on top. At Deep Media, we are both the cat and the mouse in the cat and mouse game. We have generative AI technology.
Wow. So you see why I call it the deepfake takeover, because it is not coming, it is taken over now. There's really no telling how many of us have already watched videos on YouTube, seen things in different platforms that were not even human. That we saw human beings talking, we had no idea that they were not even real. You know, they talked about, there was, some of you've seen the video where it was a deep fake of Hillary Clinton endorsing Ron DeSantis. Okay, that would never happen, but it looks so real. You've seen the AI deep fake pictures and images of Donald Trump running from the cops in his textbook suit and red tie, and he's just looking back, and the cops are about to get him. And you've seen deep fakes of Biden, and a lot of those are comical, and they're made to just sort of make fun of the opponent that you're not supporting and all of that. And most people can figure out, that would never happen. The deep fakes are so outlandish that you would say, okay, that would never happen. Hillary Clinton would never endorse Ron DeSantis. No matter what she's saying, no matter what it looks like she's saying, that's not real. That's not the danger. That's sort of fun to play around with and laugh at and make memes from. But when it's something serious, like war, like the economy, like something that would affect the economy, something that would affect the bottom line. Or then you take that off of elections and you go to your own life. What if somebody made a deep fake of you doing something that was criminal? And then you're standing before a judge fighting for your life, knowing you are 100% innocent. But it seems like there is unbelievable evidence on video that you did this. Or someone actually did that and they just superimposed your face over the actual assailant. What is to stop someone that is completely demonic and deviant, that someone that's also very educated in this technology, to commit crimes knowing they're going to commit them and already have in their storage or in their person somewhere in their studio or wherever, your data or someone else's data ready to superimpose over them, and they just keep getting away with crime after crime after crime. So what's the answer, Larry? What's the answer? I don't know. I don't know if there is an answer. I mean, I guess the biggest answer for me is prayer, and to stay prayed up and to understand that there is a realm that's beyond the realm in which we exist. I mean, technology can get bigger and bigger, and it's going to continue to get more precise and scary, but nothing overrides the spirit realm. So, one of the gifts of the Spirit, Pastor Mark Carell, who would have been with us tonight, that's going to be with us next month in this time slot. I remember hearing him teaching on the gifts of the Spirit back when I was just first called to be a pastor. It's in the early 90s. And he was teaching on the gift of the discerning of spirits. And when he got to the gift of the discerning of spirits, I'll never forget it. It stuck with me because I say it all the time because it changed everything for me. He said, look at the gift of discerning of spirits as almost like the Superman gift. Because, Superman could see through walls. Superman could hear things that nobody else could hear. So the gift of the discerning of spirits gives you the ability to see truths and hear truths from another realm that you would not normally be able to without the Holy Spirit. So that don't mean that you've got the power to sit in a room and you can eavesdrop in the conversation in the next room. No, what he was saying is that when something demonic or something spiritual is happening, or maybe even something in the natural is happening before you that is troubling you, that you can't understand, you can pray to God and ask God, help me understand this. Many times, I'm not saying it will always happen this way, but many times God will give you an understanding that's beyond your natural ability to understand it. And I'm going to tell you something, we're going to need that more than ever, because I've showed you examples tonight, and this is nothing. I mean, you could go down this rabbit hole, y'all, and you can find some things that will scare you to death. Some things that are being said, and some people that lawsuits are already in play, and it's already working its way through the courts all the way up to the Supreme Court. It ain't gonna be long. The Supreme Court's going to have to rule on some kind of ruling on AI and deep fake, how mandating something that the judicial system and the police and all these others will have. Maybe it's something like what this guy was promoting in his company, to be able to analyze the audio, analyze the video. Now, when I make a video on YouTube, this just recently started. This is how quickly this is moving. When I choose to put something on this platform on YouTube, I have to acknowledge that nothing AI generated has been used in this video. And they don't ban you doing that, but they say that if you are using AI and you do not disclose it, then you could have a penalty come on you, a strike against you, and maybe your channel could be removed. Why are they forced to do that? Because they see where this is going, where there's going to be entire channels that is going to be run by people that are sitting in front of a camera just like I am, doing their hands like this, talking to you in a microphone, telling you information. The only difference is I'm a real person. I'm a 56-year-old pawpaw from Alabama. But there's other versions of people just like me that's going to be doing just like what I'm doing right now, and they're not real. They're computer generated. And if you can do that on a smaller scale, like on a YouTube video, and fool people, the powerful elite of the World Economic Forum, all the secret societies, the deep state, and all the kind of things that go on in our world right now that are trying to manipulate the world to bow to their agenda. Do you not know that they will use this technology to promote their agenda and to scare you to death? You better know who you are in God. I said you better know who you are in God. Because if you don't, you're going to be in serious trouble. But I know who I am in God. Do you know who you are in God? I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Would you like to help us build the Big Picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.
Thank you to all that have gone to our website and become a part. I got one more thing I want to show you that's not AI related, but y'all, this is happening. This is happening right here before our very eyes. The cicadas are coming. The cicadas are coming. The temperature of the ground is getting to the place, and the cicada-geddon, instead of Armageddon, the cicada-geddon is upon us. They've already begun to come up out of the ground in places in Georgia, South Carolina. They are so noisy already in South Carolina that the residents are calling 911. As trillions of cicadas noisily emerge from their nest all over the country, residents of one South Carolina county have had enough. They're calling the local police to find out why their pastoral peace and quiet is being disrupted by intrusive sirens of a loud roar. And of course, this is Cicada-geddon. It is upon us. If you're beginning to see them and hear them, let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comments below. I like what they say on Breitbart. They said earthquake, eclipse, wars and rumors of wars, plagues of locusts. These are not locusts, but boy, they're loud. And can you imagine? Never in the history, except for when in 1776, y'all, or actually, no, when Thomas Jefferson was president, excuse me, it was the last time this happened. 2 broods of cicadas coming out at the same time in America. Y'all, Jesus is coming. I'm not saying the cicadas are a sign, but come on. It's just one more thing in 2024. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I've had all kinds of technical issues, and thank you for staying with me and not checking out on me. I think I made it to here. I think I'm still on. Let me know if I'm still on. Hit that like button and share this broadcast. Remind you that we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake. We'll see you next time on The Big Picture. God bless.